Hello, and welcome to Sam's Personal Intervention Podcast. I am your host, Brandon Nichols. As always, Sam, how are you doing?
That's nice. That's really nice. I appreciate, the introduction.
I'm just happy Sam is here. Also here with us is Zach.
Special guest.
Special guest.
How's it going, everybody?
Not a fan, by the way.
Not a fan. Doesn't even listen. I don't think. Have you listened to an episode?
I listened to one.
You know what? A fan. We will count it as a fan. So, but not an actual fan.
And
if you get our...
If not an actual fan.
Yeah.
Be quiet tonight, Vic.
Yeah, we'll see what Vic has to say. You bastard.
Now, I do know of a fan that if he chooses to come up to get his butt handed to him in Thunder Games, could be on the podcast later this week.
Oh, yeah?
Justin?
We'll see how that goes. Justin?
Has he RSVP'd?
To Thunder Games?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
There's another Justin that said he might not be there.
There's...
Okay.
So there's the original Justin, which we refer to as Justoon. Or, no, I'm sorry, Just One. And then the unoriginal Justin is Justoon.
Okay.
The last time he came, he had to sleep like on the floor in a cage. It was pretty funny. So I can explain.
You pulled your
more.
kids out of the cage to put him in it?
I know, right? I know. We're not animals, so
Oh.
it was a good time.
How was your guys' weekend?
My weekend was my last weekend at the work that I'm currently doing. Yes, thank you. So it was a little bittersweet, but I'm glad to be moving on. And we're recording a little bit later because I had friends that actually threw me a kind of a surprise party. So
From
awesome.
the old job?
Yep, from the old job. So I was with them and hanging out, and it was a very good time.
I'll be honest. Your wife sent me a message that said I might have to go pick you up from Stewie's because you had a surprise party. And I was like, oh, he doesn't need to do this tonight. Yeah. It's okay. Let him enjoy his party.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But no, I did get to enjoy it, and then I bothered you with, hey, are you guys recording yet?
Well, so Zach comes over, and so Zach still was going to just come over because you live close to here?
Yeah.
He does now.
He does now?
Yeah, just moved.
Yeah.
Oh, so I looked up where you lived on Facebook, and it said you were like 40 minutes away.
Harrisonville.
Yeah, so I was like, oh man, he drove all the way up here. I hope he's like, and then he couldn't find the place.
Only 5 minutes away.
Half my fault, half Sam's fault. I inverted my own street address, the numbers, but Sam missed a very important aspect of the street name. So Zach got to meet a nice man named Brian, who was
a very nice gentleman,
very helpful. Or was he helpful? Did he direct you anywhere? Or
yeah, he said Google Maps is not your friend.
Really?
Yeah, he says he gets people all the time using Google Maps. Showing up at his house.
What's funny is we've ordered stuff delivery, and people are like, I can't find your house.
Yeah,
and
we've
I'm
had
like,
the same problem.
But they always, so I have a terrace attached to my street. Mm-hmm. People always just go, oh, it's so and so street. And they're like, I can't find you. I said, you're on terrace, right? And they're like,
yeah,
I'll be there in a minute. It's like,
yeah.
So, did you play anything?
So I have not played anything, so I'm not very helpful this podcast. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you watched anything?
I did watch, we got Disney Plus in a way, and...
it's okay, purchase. You're welcome.
Yes.
Great purchase.
I agree, and we watched The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched The Mandalorian?
I'm caught up. Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up all around for Baby Yoda?
100%.
Thumbs up. And IG-11. IG-11, the robotic droid.
Oh, the robotic droid?
Fantastic. Amazing. A very fun scene to see them.
Yeah, because that popped up and I was like, isn't that from like an old Disney movie? Like,
yeah.
Is it?
The IG-11?
Yeah.
No, it's a Star Wars.
I don't know, but the build of it made me just like, I don't know why that reminds me of like an old...
Well, back in the day, there was on Nintendo 64, there was like a Star Wars game. I can't remember what it was called. And you didn't play as like a Jedi or anything in it. But there was a bounty hunter droid that you actually had to fight. Oh, okay. And that was its design. And I think in their canon and everything, this is something with the bounty hunters, that there are these droids that are bounty hunter specific. And I think it's actually in the original episodes too. Like, there's a droid that's kind of in the background.
Yeah, and kind of random. I
Yeah.
remember I was super into Legos as a kid. I remember like a Jabba the Hutt skiff Lego set, which I'm pretty sure had an IG-11 or IG-11 similar droid
Yeah.
Right.
in it. Really wanted it.
Am I the only one that, as I turned into a parent, I turned into this? Well, I was never allowed to get this when I was a kid. My kid is going to have it. My biggest example of this was the battle bus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles drove. I always wanted that as a kid. I was like,
awesome.
I want that. And when it got to a point with my oldest, and he was into the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, I looked at my wife and I'm like, he needs the battle bus. And she's like, but why? I'm like, because I couldn't have it when I was his age.
I'm not gonna lie, that's something I'm looking forward to.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you a parent?
Yeah.
How many?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
Oh.
Turns 1 year and 3 weeks.
Hey.
Congrats.
Awesome. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
You still have a good 6 years before you start going, why did I do this? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness, she's getting into everything.
Yeah.
She?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Everything.
I'm not
Parenthood
focused.
is
I didn't
amazing.
play in this episode just like I didn't play last week, so it's just
That's
kind of
okay. Riffing
between
goes well.
between the
It's-
being having a head cold and my child's insane schedule and everything else. I'm done.
Yeah. That's
So.
all right. Happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too, Sam.
Happy Zach's here.
I'm happy.
man.
Zach's
I
here,
invited
too.
him
I
last
got
week, so I'm
invited.
happy to have a third on the podcast
So-
is always enjoyable.
So Sam or Zach showed up while I was in the middle of playing Fallen Order, and from the little bit you watched, what did you think of it?
Oh, beautiful game. It looks like a lot of fun. It really does. I definitely get really good Star Wars vibes. We discussed a little bit of the Battlefront games.
Right, the non-single player, multiplayer.
Yeah, and they were Star Wars per se. They just didn't have the Star Wars feel. This definitely had a really good Star Wars feel. It felt like Star Wars.
So I'm gonna do this now and get it out of the way. I'm gonna give you. I've been playing it nonstop since it came out, for the most part.
When did it come out?
It came out. Technically, it came out Friday,
Okay.
the 15th. But if you pre-ordered it, you got it. You can get it Thursday night.
Okay. So how many hours do you think you have in it?
10.
10? Okay.
10 hours,
And I
which
think
makes sense because I think I'm about halfway. I think somebody said I was
Yeah,
about halfway.
I was gonna say I think it's a 20 to 30 hour game depending
Right.
on how
what I
many.
heard.
Yeah.
And
Extra do.
I just
Fair
got a specific ability that put it to where I asked somebody, and it's like, no, yeah, you're about halfway.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
and I've discussed the game at length with Brent, because Brent is also doing it, our buddy.
He owns that now because of me.
Yes. Is there a bet for this Super Bowl?
It'll once it comes down to me and a friend of mine, Brent, we have a Super Bowl bet every year, and it's always a game. It's always a game, and so the person that loses the year before gets to pick who their team is.
Oh.
So, and that's what we've done for the last 12 years.
And how many in a row have you lost?
I think we are 8-6, with him being ahead by 2.
Okay.
Pretty close.
So I mean, we're kind of like close to neck and neck. I could not pick the Patriots last year. That was my problem. I had
you couldn't do it.
It was hard,
especially after the Chiefs game.
I really wanted to pick the Patriots because I was like, I feel like they're going to win, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't until I was like,
Fair.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So I'm going to give a non-spoiler review of where I'm at. I have good and bad, but I'm going to start with the good.
Okay.
I will say that if you are a fan of Star Wars, you should play this game. Kind of like Zach said, it's got a very good Star Wars feel to it. The combat makes you feel like a Jedi. The using the Force abilities is great. Visually, and I'm just going to flat out say it because I think everybody knows it, sans Wookiees. Visually, it is a beautiful game. The environments are beautiful. The character models, minus the Wookiees, are really nice. I really like the main character. There's a lot of close-ups. The CGI cutscenes look a little rough, but I think it's more because they're trying too hard on it. But it's not necessarily a knock.
Right.
It does kind of have that, I think you said, cheesy Star Wars camp feel to it a little bit. So,
But that's Star Wars.
but that's Star Wars.
Right. That fits.
The voice acting is awesome.
Yeah.
The music and the sound is great. Like the little doo-doo-doo. Like that just happens when you're just rounding corners and just exploring. It's like really like, hey, this is Star Wars. I know I'm Star Wars. It's just really good. The robot, your little sidekick, BB-1, is great. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It overall is a fun game.
Yeah.
So if you like Star Wars, play it.
What would be your rating? 0 to 10. 10's the best. 0's nothing.
So now I need to talk to you about my issues. I have some issues.
Okay. Before we get into the rating.
Before I get into the rating.
Okay, fair enough.
So there are, first of all, the game lags.
Okay.
Across all consoles. I don't know about PC. But Xbox and PlayStation both lag. I've talked to Brent is playing on an Xbox. I'm playing it on a PS4. We've both experienced the same issues of weird, shaky character models at points, where it just kind of looks like it's not a steady character model. Lag,
Right.
slow down,
Okay.
pop in a lot, which I feel like could have been rectified with a delay.
Yeah.
But I doubt, especially with Rise of Skywalker coming out, they want to keep the momentum
and
going.
The Mandalorians. Now, it's hot.
Out.
Star Wars is kind of back on there.
I think they probably just chose not to delay it to fix. There's a lot of issues and little bugs where I feel like, man, they just put in an extra like 3 or 4 months. They probably could have nailed that. Those are all minor grievances.
Okay.
But I have some major issues with the combat. First of all, I don't know. Have you watched any gameplay, Sam?
Other than some trailers, no.
Okay. So I'm going to say something that I don't want to dissuade you from playing the game, because you made a comment to me last week about something that you're not going to like.
Oh, crap. This could go anywhere.
There's some Souls-esque aspect to the way this game is played.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if you die and you haven't saved, you lose all the XP you've earned.
Right.
And you go back to the last time you saved. And there could be some challenging BS crap between save points.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, Sam's not going to like this. He literally just told me he doesn't like any of the Souls games.
Yeah.
And you can't save scum in it, like you were saying. You have to.
Yeah.
There's like with the Souls aspect. There's only certain.
So you have to. You meditate. Then so when you meditate, and it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged lightsaber. When you meditate,
I see what you did
it
there.
will automatically
Very
save.
nice.
Right. It'll automatically save.
Yeah.
But when you meditate, it's also where you upgrade your skill points.
Yeah.
And you can rest. Resting is the only way to regain your health that's not using a stim pack that your robot provides you. And your robot only holds 4.
Okay.
So when you rest, your health regenerates and you get all your stim packs back. Okay? I say the robot only contains 4. Right now, my robot can only hold 4. I'm told it can probably be more.
But halfway through.
Right. Halfway through at 4. You watched me do a pretty large battle that I wasn't expecting. And actually, I was a little more impressed with myself and me getting through it because I thought I was going to die right away.
Yeah.
And I think I still had 1 stim pack left.
I think you used them all.
Did I use them all?
The last one at the very end.
Okay, at the very end. Well, yeah, because it was the main boss of it.
So it's not messing around.
No. But when you meditate or when you rest, all the enemies respawn.
Oh.
That's the part I was expecting you to not like.
Okay.
Which can get super frustrating. Especially, so I hit a point where I finished the part of the level and I needed to get all the freaking way back to the start of the level. Mm-hmm. And the maps are huge.
Right.
Each planet map is huge. Like I showed him when he got there and I opened the map up and I'm like, I'm here and I need to get here. And there's a maze to get there and I'm a little confused as to how. So he was like, I'm like, and I hadn't hit a save point and I want to freaking get back and get my save point. Yeah. So that can be frustrating. Control mechanics that irritate the shit out of me. You can't cancel out of an attack.
Okay, so you're committed.
You're committed. The second the animation starts,
Stop being a little bitch.
okay, yes, Sam. So yeah, you can't cancel out of an attack. The rolling mechanic works to an extent.
Okay.
But pretty much every larger monster has not an initial swing, but
Like
1 to 2
secondary.
follow-ups.
Gotcha.
And they will follow you if you roll out of the way.
Okay.
The game forces you to block,
Okay.
but you have a block meter that deteriorates down. So do enemies.
Right.
Also have a block meter. So if you can balance out the two, but the fact that you can't cancel out of an attack is a little unnerving to me at points, when mostly when you're in a large group combat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's people shooting at you. There's like wildlife trying to kill you. They like spit venom. And then there's stormtroopers that have like electrical rods.
Okay.
So you have to navigate all of them. And if you're earlier in the game and you don't have all of your force abilities,
Right.
it can be super frustrating and like really annoying.
Is there difficulty levels? Like
There are, and there's 4 difficulty levels, 4 or 5 difficulty levels. There's the easy,
Right.
which is focus on story.
Right.
There's if you don't have any experience playing an adventure game, or you have a little bit of experience but not much. There's you're an adventure game specialist.
Right.
And then there's like another hard one.
What are you playing on?
Well, so it defaults at you have some adventure game experience.
So like the normal.
The what I would say normal or normal easy. I typically, the first time I play a game, I leave it at whatever the default is.
Okay.
Because that
And
way
it's
I know
kicking
that
your ass a little bit.
it is. And so it's like, but I also feel like I'm fighting the controls. Also, the right stick, so left is move, right is look. It's got a lot of, it's quick.
Yeah.
And you can't adjust the sensitivity on it. And I was telling Zach, it took me probably about a third of the game of where I'm at to get accustomed to it. Because Respawn, like we were talking about, Apex, Titanfall, and it's the same core group that started Modern Warfare.
Right.
These guys are first-person shooters.
Right.
And some people like quick looks. I feel like it could be tightened up a little, or at least let the person playing the game adjust it.
Gotcha.
Because even Dave was like, "Yeah, I noticed it like right away."
interesting.
He got used to it. Brent said,
And
the
you
same
notice
thing.
that like pretty quickly?
Well, he did.
So even just watching him,
just watching
like there was a lot of like he was just trying to just turn just a little bit his camera, and he'd overcompensate.
Wow.
Like, even just minor touches, like,
And it was like
very
I
jerky.
was like
very sharp movement.
Well, and to notice that not playing and just for seeing it for the first time, I imagine that's kind of that seems like that's a little troublesome.
Brent also noticed it, but he said that he got used to it. I think probably got acclimated to it quicker than I did.
Yeah.
I am even playing first-person shooters. I prefer a slower move than a quick move, but that fits my play style.
Yeah.
So,
how are you with movement? Like, I mean, I feel like you play probably a lot more PC than I do. So I feel like that quick movement's a little bit more similar to PC.
Well, I've kind of been all over the place. I used to play super high sensitivity, like I Call of Duty Zombies back in the day. You know, like I'd play 10 everything. Now,
right.
I got
kill me now.
Yeah, I know. Anymore.
I couldn't do that.
Well, and my reflexes aren't what they were when I was, 14, 15.
Right.
I don't have that anymore. So I'm definitely a slower.
Because
I think I'm thinking like Modern Warfare. I think I'm just on the normal. I don't think I've adjusted any of the settings.
What about like Rainbow Six? Because we've played that together all as a group.
On
what do you say
console,
about there?
I think I keep it a little bit higher than normal, maybe like a 6 or a 7.
Okay,
on PC.
That's not crazy.
On PC, I like it a little bit lower. It helps with like recoil.
Yeah.
With the recoil control.
For sure.
you know what's funny about that is on Modern Warfare, I actually sped it up a little, which is I'm normally, like I said, slower.
Yeah, you like a
and
little
I was
bit.
like, I think this could get bumped up a little bit.
I will say Modern Warfare is smoother on console when it comes to movement. A
Really?
little bit, yeah. in certain things, it actually gives console a bit of an advantage. Like with the concussion grenades, whenever PC players get hit with concussion grenades, they actually have like 2 to 3 times slower movement.
Really?
To console players.
Interesting.
Really annoying.
Now I'm gonna have to change to a concussion grenade while playing, and
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, especially compared to flashes. Flashes do almost nothing. But back to
yeah. So it took me a while. The other issue with, especially with the look speed,
Right.
is there's the level design is for the most part really good, but there are a lot of rooms you'll get into where there's corners, and if you're fighting a big enough group or big enough guy, you're trapped in the corner and you cannot escape.
Oh.
Like
There's like boxes you can't get past.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh,
Zach saw me. The fight I was in where they kept spawning new types of guys. The big guy that I got the finisher on, that had the multiple swings.
Yep.
He was the one I was telling you twice while I've come across that monster. I was in a room where I got literally stuck in a corner. And I had to set the controller down.
And he's just wailing on you.
Yeah, I
And you're
could
just
not,
like,
because you can't get around. You can't get around them.
That's frustrating.
And I feel like, and that comes into a moment where I think if they refined the roll controls, you should be able to roll out of that.
So what you're saying is the hitboxes are larger than the actual characters.
Correct, and it just keeps you from expanding past that. And
which is something that can be fixed.
It is,
down the line.
And
I see what you're saying with like the delay,
right? And I'm
just
and then the fast movement, and also usually, and then the other problem with that in particular is when you get in that situation, the camera almost becomes first person, and you can't.
Oh, I hate
you know what I mean?
that.
Because it drops down because of the wall.
Right.
Whereas I like when you're playing a game like that where it positions itself and it's pretty much like the wall just disappears.
Yeah.
It becomes
It
invisible.
recognizes that you are in a corner.
Right, but this is the camera's like, oh, I can't fit here. I'm right here, and then with the quick move of the right thumbstick, I'm like, shit, I can't. Okay, I'm dead. I'll let it go.
Right.
I'll just do 2 more gripes. So I was telling him there was literally a moment last night. I tried like 5 times. Dave tried a couple times. You have games where you climb on like a pipe and you do the balancing act.
Yeah.
You can't fall off of these things on this game. But you have to jump from one pipe to another. You have to be 100% dead on center on these damn pipes. Even off a hair, it doesn't just like. I feel like there should be an auto. Like there should be a give on these things.
You're a Jedi. You should have no problem with this.
Well,
Use the Force.
Exactly.
use the Force. Yeah. I fell off the same damn pipe.
Apparently, you're not focusing enough.
I'm not focusing
Yeah,
enough.
you're not focusing enough.
And Dave goes, give me the controller. And I mean, this was a straight line pipe. And Dave's beating the game. My nephew's beating the game.
Right.
And he's like, he kept falling off. He goes, I don't know where I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple aspect of it.
Right.
And I think this might be a minor thing. Brent told me he didn't even notice that this was something he had to do because he was just doing it. So if you want to climb a wall, you walk up to the wall and you pull the trigger, the left trigger, to grab the wall.
Yeah.
And then you climb up. If you jump at the wall, the game will automatically grab it. But if you don't pull the left trigger, he won't stay holding it. He'll fall. And I don't know if you noticed it, Zach. This is what I'm noticing when it happens. He does it, and then the character kind of turns to look at you like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? And there's a little prompt to tell you to grab the wall. It's a real quick thing.
Yeah.
But the motion, I swear, when he grabs it, it's this.
Yeah. He grabs 2 hands,
and then
holds,
lets go with
one hand and kind of hangs there. And you have to hit the button for him to swing it back over to grab it.
And it's
otherwise he falls.
Otherwise he'll fall. So here's okay.
So it throws you off.
It does
because it makes you think he's good.
Right. I'm not focusing, am I, Sam?
I guess not. I don't think so.
So I can let that go for one reason alone, or I would be able to let it go for one reason alone, except it's not a thing. So in these games where you scale a wall like that,
Right.
you then have to jump to another platform or
Right.
another thing to grab. You don't have to do the...
Right.
You just jump and he's just automatically hooked onto it.
Because you're climbing.
Because you're climbing.
Oh, yeah.
So either make it a thing...
Yeah.
Or don't, because...
It's inconsistent.
Right. Yeah. And what I was telling him was... What I was telling Zach was there were a couple moments I've had where I'm climbing a huge thing.
Right.
And I forget that. And then I'll get on a normal flat ground. I'm like, oh, here's my next thing. And I'll run and I'll jump. But I don't initiate the grab. And then I fall and I die.
Right.
And I'm like, why? Oh.
Right.
Because I didn't pull the trigger. Because for the last 2 minutes, I didn't have to pull the damn trigger. Yeah. But now I do.
I mean, maybe they're trying to be like, let's immerse you in the game somehow. But it seems like a crappy design.
It really does
to just
feel
kind
like...
of screw you over.
Yeah. Like, hey, pay attention. Like, just...
Right. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, all said and told, you got your gripes, you got the stuff you like about it.
Yeah.
Where is that on that scale?
So one of the good things that I was saying was I feel like as I've acquired all the force moves that you can do, like I feel a little more overpowered. Okay. Or more power or more on keel with everything. I was telling Brent and I were talking about it, I was telling Zach, you played the Arkham games?
Yeah.
The free flow combat in Arkham and in Spider-Man. I know you played Spider-Man.
Amazing. I'd say Arkham's better than Spider-Man too.
Yeah, I mean
it's Batman.
True, it is. You have the gadget aspect of it.
I think, I just feel like don't get me wrong, Spider-Man's super close, but also what I feel like Batman does is like he's reading my mind, and I'm like, I want him to go after that guy after I kick this guy in the face, and then he does it.
Right.
Spider-Man occasionally I'd be like, I mean, you did something cool,
right?
But it wasn't exactly what I was thinking in my mind, whereas Batman, when he's doing it, I'm like, that's exactly how I imagined it.
This game needs that kind of combat style for large groups.
Yeah.
Because it would just make the fun factor 100 times more.
Gotcha.
And I felt like if it had that, this game would be like easily a 9 or a 10 for me. Okay. Despite the flaws. But the combat mechanics are part of my major issues. Yeah. So assuming I keep feeling, especially when you get the force, because if you get all your force powers and you start doing things and you add a free flow to it, there's nothing better than force pulling a robot at you and chucking it at a stormtrooper with electrical things. You're looking over at the thing. Is it still recording? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Both of you made this look, and I'm like, crap. It looks like it's frozen on us before, but it hasn't.
No, I'm just...
Yeah, but...
I know that little bar is kind of just like captivating.
Moving with the volume.
But then when you throw the robot and it explodes and kills the stormtrooper and everything else,
feels
you're like...
good.
Austin was watching me play last night, and I ran up on a guy who was just standing on a ledge not facing me. And I was like, I knew where I was going because I'd played through this part and I've rested a couple times. I rounded the corner and I just force pushed him straight off and it was a cliff. And Austin was like, wow, Dad, you didn't even give it a second thought. You were just I was like, yeah, watch this. And I rounded another corner and a guy went, target! And he just went flying. And I'm like, hey, there is no better way to deal with an overpowered enemy. If the game will let you, it's just push them off the ledge.
Absolutely.
But there is a cool aspect because the Purge stormtroopers, the ones that are in black, that are that have force, when you go to pull them towards you, they'll shove their lightsaber in the ground and fight it, and you drag them towards you, and it looks really, really cool. And one of my favorite, there's the main boss of the game. There's a mini fight. Yeah. Right about halfway through there, where you're like, okay, see how good I am. Yeah. I was not good. But on top of that, I was like, okay, I'm going to parry her blows. I'm going to sidestep her and attack her. And I was doing that at first. And then it was almost like the game realized what I was doing and it stopped moving at me. And then she taunted me without saying anything. And then she took her lightsaber, pointed it into the ground and drew an arc. That's cool. And I'm like, I don't want to go after you. I want you to come after me. Yeah. And I was like, screw it, let's do it. And then I immediately I was like, oh, stupid game.
That's always fun when characters enemies adapt to what you're doing as a player. Mm-hmm.
If it keeps staying the way it is and progressing and getting better despite the flaws I have against it, I'm going to put it at an 8.
Gotcha. Okay.
if I don't feel like the payoff was worth it for the issues, it's a 6.5 or 7.
Damn. Okay.
I was afraid. One of my biggest complaints was that this game was going to be geared at the most casual person with a Star Wars skin. Hey, play this. It's Star Wars. We know you'll pay the money for it. And I've even read reviews where I've gone with like 9.5 and 10 reviews of this game where I've gone and having played it and seen the issues that I have with it.
Right.
I'm like, man, you're just a Star Wars fanboy who's just like, oh my God, it's third person. Like, this is fun. Like, let's talk about some of these issues because everybody's talking about the issues.
Right.
You just blatantly ignored them so that you could be like, this is the game of the year. And I'm like,
maybe
did you play Monster Hunter? Because Monster Hunter was pretty damn good this year. And like, there's other games where I've just been like, have you played Grindstone? Have you played What the Golf? Have you played? So that would be my my takeaway of that.
Okay. Well, with that, how accessible do you think it is for the average player? Like, you know, we have any younger viewers, parents of, you know, younger kids. How accessible is it for them?
I think so. Here's a downside I have. I have a crap ton of history of playing similar type games. I know what should and shouldn't work for me, and I know how these games have been made that are amazing. Like we were talking about Batman with the combat and Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, because there's a lot of Tomb Raider aspects to this game. I was telling Zach, I felt like they took a whole bunch. They like, what are all your favorite games? What are your favorite pieces of those games that we could put into this game? And some asshole who's a sadistic, you know, sadist that loves a Dark Souls game went, I got an idea.
Yeah.
I think if you're someone like me, it's actually harder to get into. But I think like my son Austin, who doesn't have a lot of experience with these type of games, looked like he wanted to pick it up and play it. And knowing how the controls are, he can.
Yeah.
So it's simple enough.
It's simple enough, and I don't think you have the preconceived notion of how things should be, that you'll learn how the game wants you to play it, and you'll play it.
Okay.
And I'm sure I fight back against how the game wants me to, because I know what has worked better in other games, if that makes sense.
Fair.
So I think I would put it, any 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, Kai might be able to pick it up.
For sure.
I mean, you said he's playing Fortnite now?
He's actually been off that. I actually got him Pokemon Sword.
Oh, Sword. Okay.
Yeah, he's really been
is he liking that?
He loves it.
Does he?
He loves that game.
It's going to be probably a Christmas thing.
Gotcha.
So
You should get Shield.
Shield?
So that he can trade with.
So you can do the trading.
Yeah, which I guess you can trade with either one, but there's specific Pokemon for each one.
Okay.
So you can't get those in the other one. So just saying,
Are they priced the same?
Yeah.
70 each?
60.
60 each?
Yeah.
I think they do 2 every time they come out with a new one.
Yeah, pretty much for the most part. And it's like, there's specific Pokemon.
Then
like
I wish
Kai's,
they would drop the price like $10 to $15.
People pay it.
I know, that's the problem.
Kai's been loving it though. He's actually was just showing me because you pick out your Pokemon at the beginning and everything.
Right.
He's evolved his a couple times and he's just like, man, I really like it. And I was just watching him and I was like, that's really cool, bud. Like, I'm glad you like it.
The boys were watching, they watch YouTube videos of Pokemon stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a YouTube video where they were showing the regular and shiny versions of all the Pokemon that were, and they were just sitting there watching it. Literally, it was a slideshow of Pokemon. And they were just like, oh, look at that one. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's so funny because it's one of those things that, your kid grows up and they fall in love with, like Pokemon cards or whatever. And so they know all these characters. And Kai's never played a Pokemon game before. I think other than, where he's seen them in like Smash Brothers or something like that. But he knows a lot of this character evolves into this character and this character evolves into that character. And this is their powers and this is what they're effective against. And so it's interesting whenever he'll be playing and he'll be like, what's that? And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know anything about it. And he'll go and, fight start the battle screen to fight the character. And he's like, oh, this is this character. I want to get him because he's got a ground attack. And then I can, upgrade him, evolve him to this. And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, I'm happy for you because I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
I've only ever played Pokemon
world.
Go.
Yeah.
I have never played.
And I briefly hopped on there and played it for a little bit, but I didn't get into it really. But then Kai loves the game so far.
Sword is what you got?
Yep, we got Sword.
and I've been meaning to tell you for the last 24 hours. Kids like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft Earth.
Yeah.
Is out. My kids love it, and both of them have. Or Austin made the comment, I think I like this more than Pokemon Go. So I'm like, wow.
It's more interactive,
really?
I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way more interactive. And something I said just listening to them play it, I was like, I think I like it more because Pokemon Go, you're restricted to businesses and churches and
right.
Like there's all sorts of crap out in our yard and out in our area. They sat in front of the house and played around and was like, like chasing things on their phone. And I was like,
that's pretty cool.
That's good because I can't do that with Pokemon here.
Right.
We get like a Rattata that pops every like 2 hours type thing, you know.
Gotcha.
But I was just going to tell you, it is out on iOS and Android, but not all Android devices because I've got a couple people at work that were like, oh, that's out. I've been looking for that for my kids. And they were like, I can't find it. And I was like, well, how old's your phone? It's like, I think that's one thing I think iPhone does is they keep things working with older phones longer than Android does. I don't know that for sure.
I don't know.
I just know several people who have had issues with, like the new Harry Potter thing that came out. A woman I work with, that's like Pokemon Go, she says her phone's only 3 years old and it won't play.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Or it's not, because I heard it's not very good. I mean, to each their own. We downloaded it for a brief while, but from what I heard, everybody was like, it was a Pokemon copy type, and it wasn't as Here was the biggest issue that the Harry Potter one had was, so you have balls in Pokeballs that you use for Pokemon Go, and you can purchase them. But when you purchase them, you get a crap ton of balls, and you have to have. You have spell energy that runs out really fast. Right.
And you can purchase more spell energy, but very little bits. But you can also walk around in one block, spin a stop, and get loaded up on Pokeballs. So you can't do that with the spell energy at all. At all.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of a money sink they've built in.
Right. That's where they're going to get is people trying to do their things for the
microtransactions, which should be illegal.
Well, they're working on it.
This is true. All right, enough about mobile games.
Enough about
mobile games.
Mr. Apple Arcade in my life for the last 2 weeks has been.
But I haven't played anything, so
not even on your phone.
Huh?
Not even on your phone.
No, I haven't done anything. This last week I was just been busy. What's that?
Good Apple Arcade?
Yes, I did get Apple Arcade.
He got me to get Apple Arcade.
There were a couple games that I had heard good buzz about, and I tried them. I'll have to show you after after we're done with the show.
Yeah.
I'm still playing Grindstone.
There's one that I'll show you that has a friend mode to let somebody just kind of go in and give it a try, which is what I let him try, and he downloaded it, I think, shortly after.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then both of my kids, I let them do the try thing, and now they got both. Yeah. Austin had just 100%ed the whole damn thing.
Hey.
No.
He's like... I'm like, he goes, where are you at? I'm like 20?
Yeah.
Like, I don't play it as much as you. Like,
stuff. Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, there's VR parts of that game, and I'm like, how? Like, I can't do those. That drives me like,
it's crazy.
I can't.
It's crazy what he did.
So yeah. I put both of these boxes of nerds for you guys down here in case you wanted them.
Thank you.
I was kind of implying.
I use it as a maraca.
Yeah, and then I was sitting here going, they're both going to sit here while we're recording and just check these things.
I thought about it.
A huge distraction. I don't really have anything else to talk about. We talked about Mandalorian.
Yeah. Very, very, very good.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes of Mandalorian.
Impressed.
Absolutely.
I love that it's cheap. It looks cheap, and I love it. It feels old, classic Star Wars.
It really does. But then some of the bigger things that they have in it I was like, yes.
The parts that should look nice, look nice.
Yes. That's exactly it. The parts that you're like, man, the thing he fought, the second episode, the thing he fought for the egg, I was like, that looked good.
Yeah.
And he's getting beat around, and you're just like, that looks good right then. And, I mean, everything looks the way it should be. The Jawas, doing their thing, and you're just like, yeah. Utini was in there. I'm like, yes, Utini. They have to say Utini at some point. Yes. Perfect. And he's a man of few words, but God, when he says stuff, it's like, yes, I'll listen to you.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Can you explain something to me? Maybe I'm. This is me not being a huge Star Wars fan. Also, we need to set a I don't know, spoiler limitation. We're on episode 2. If you haven't watched episode 1 at this point.
So yeah, you need to spoiler alert it if you're gonna.
Spoiler alert.
If we're gonna dive
for episode 1.
For episode 1, that's my issue. Like, so we're a couple days away from episode 3. Like, there needs to be a 1 week buffer to where I'm not gonna start giving a shit about spoilers.
I feel it's fair.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If you don't have, if you're one of the 10 people that don't have Disney Plus or access to Disney Plus, and you don't torrent or do anything online that most people do, that's not my problem.
I think as long as we set it up with the okay, here comes a spoiler.
Right.
Give people a little moment to kind of.
So spoiler. Explain to me the thing that got melted down and turned into a shoulder plate.
I think it's very significant with the Mandalorians themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know that history as well. Zach, do you know more about that world building?
What I gathered from it, which I'm also not a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I enjoy them. I appreciate the significance they have in our culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a lot of fun. But what I gathered, and he mentions in the show, weapons are part of his religion.
Right.
He can't, those are important to him. It sounded like the metal specifically was part of or important to the Mandalorian religion. So getting it, it should all be returned to the Mandalorians was mentioned. Mm-hmm. I wonder if maybe that's not part of his religion. It's something keeping close to him.
That's I would agree. That's kind of
the significance of wearing a cross for Christians. Maybe
it's and I mean,
and maybe that's a gross misconception, but
no, I think that's really well said. And I think I haven't dived into the folklore of Star Wars. I know there's a bunch of books and everything that eventually Disney was like, hey, that's not true. But there's a bunch of investigation into these different aliens and species and stuff like that. And the Mandalorians themselves have a whole history and everything that has been dived down, but I don't know it personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the feeling I got is exactly what Zach said, basically, is it's very specific to them as their religion, as their culture or species or whatever they are, that is something that is vital and crucial to their way of life.
Planet.
What's that?
Maybe unique to their home planet.
Exactly. And I imagine that'll be investigated and explored further as the series goes on, and it may not even be in the first season.
Yeah.
They may not even touch on that, but then down the line, I imagine.
With them making so much significance of it in the first episode, I really feel that will be further.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Real quick, I did save this. I was between playing Fallen Jedi or Fallen Order and The Mandalorian. I started going like, where the hell do these fall into the timeline?
Oh yeah.
So where The Mandalorian falls in, so you have an episode 1, or the Clone Wars cartoon animated series takes place, including episode 2 and episode 3. After that is Solo and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that they're working on.
Okay.
Oh.
After that is Star Wars Rebels and Untitled Cassian Andor series.
Oh, we're gonna have to sue them. They stole our idea.
Okay.
Untitled.
Oh, Untitled. It took me a minute there. I'm like, when did you and I talk about a Star Wars idea?
You're gonna owe us millions.
And then you have, and it was really funny in the sliver here, and if you've seen it, you understand. Rogue One is literally butted up next to New Hope. Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then I would say about a quarter of a way between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens is The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Wait, so that's not Yoda?
No, that's not Yoda.
No, sir.
Yoda is apparently a spoiler. I know. I had to Google this because I wanted to know. Because that's what made me. That's prompted me.
That's also not Boba Fett. For anybody that's thought it's Boba Fett, it's not Boba
that
Fett.
I knew.
Yeah, I knew that. I initially thought it was him.
I did too.
And I was like, oh, it's him. He got out of the Sarlacc in, Return of the Jedi somehow. And then as I've kind of investigated a little bit more onto it, it's like, no, it's not him.
Yeah.
I clearly knew nothing because I thought this was like a prequel.
Well, I thought it was too, but there was a reference somebody made partway through, I think, the second episode that made me go, wait, what? And then I was like, I don't remember what it was, but then it was like timeline of Mandalorian.
Did you put the Jedi Fallen Order in there, the game?
I didn't because I couldn't find where that was. Where's it at?
It falls after episode 3. After the Darth Vader's come out. After basically they put out the order to go and just kill all the Jedi.
Okay.
So before A New Hope.
After Solo?
I don't know about that.
Maybe
as far as that time zone. But like I think it's after they put out the order, in the third Star Wars movie to, take all the Jedi, the Empire's taking over,
Order
and all
66.
That. There you go. Thank you. Order 66.
So just to continue, so then you have Mandalorian, then The Force Awakens, and encompassing Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, it says Star Wars Resistance. Is that a game? I don't know what that is.
I think. Oh man, I feel like that's a TV show.
Yeah.
And then in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, it says Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which I'm not sure what that is.
Is that the new one?
I don't know. Well, no, the new movie is Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I know, but they talk
have
about
a lot of
Galaxy's
shows.
Edge, is that like at Disney?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, is that the
I think you're right.
Theme
Disney,
park?
like, at the theme park.
That could be it.
Because I remember seeing something on Disney Plus, like a walkthrough of
I think that might be it. I think it might be Galaxy's Edge.
Just to so people understand why my knowledge is so little of this, and I was talking to Zach about this earlier, I was never introduced to Star Wars until I was in high school. Right. And it was literally right before episode 1 came out. And I was like, why is everybody talking about this? Let me see what this is.
Gotcha.
And so,
fair enough.
And by the time this had come out, I had seen so many special effects heavy movies.
Yeah.
That I watched. So then I watched A New Hope, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like one of those things for me where I've always been so delved into it. I didn't have somebody growing up going, oh my God, you should watch Star Wars. It's super amazing. Having said that, I totally agree with what Zach said. I understand its relevance. I understand what it did for the genre and all the technological advances it started. But I'm just not. I'm indifferent to it.
I understand.
So I don't have the knowledge of pretty much anything Star Wars. And most of the time, just to cause a fight with people, I just go, I don't know, Star Wars sucks. Just because people get so...
They do.
I'm going to use
like
the word
saying
triggered.
You don't like the Beatles.
Who?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I like them. Hey, we're the monkey. No. Wrong group.
Yeah, that's it. No, you got the right one. Yep, you're good.
Back to time frame. Here it's saying beginning of Solo, so same time, 5 years after Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
Okay.
So same time frame.
So there are a lot of rumors, and I guess I'll ask your opinion on this. Where do you think Baby Yoda comes from?
Oh, I don't know. I just love him.
You just love him.
I would do anything to protect him. And
so if they release
I would fight everybody and kill them.
If Build-A-Bear does a Baby Yoda, are you going to be there?
I actually was talking to one of my friends about that tonight, and I said, I usually do not like the cutesy things. I feel like it's pandering to children, and they start trying to sell plushies. But I'm like, I want this.
I'm buying it for my daughter.
I will buy this plushie for me, and I will keep it in my bed, and I will snuggle it.
So we tried.
It is adorable.
I
don't know how they did it.
We watched the entire second episode.
Our second child.
Right. We watched the entire second episode last night, but I swear 90% of the episode was me trying to listen to what was going on over my wife, Dave, and both of my children going, he's so cute! And I'm like, guys, can you stop? Like,
I'm not even like that. I have little to no emotion. And I was thinking that
you're dead inside, I know.
So
yeah, almost every time I saw him on screen, I was like, "You are the most adorable thing ever." I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, a friend of mine said to me, "Next time they show Baby Yoda, Google a picture of Grumpy Cat," because for some reason to her, they just look a lot alike.
Yeah.
But I was telling someone, I was like, it's weird because, like I said, it's like a really fat, pudgy baby that knows how to walk.
Yeah.
In the way they waddle. And all you see is a little bald head and just the ears flopping out.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like...
He's adorable. Or he or she, I don't know.
Yoda,
It could
whatever.
be a
50 years
So
old.
I guess
Yeah.
in this again, my lack of Star Wars knowledge, and maybe you know more, Sam.
I have no
Yaddle.
idea. Yaddle's a female type, but see, the Yoda is not the term of the race. That was his name.
Right.
So Yaddle was the female, whatever race that is.
So there's an online theory that they are the parents of this child, and that why Yaddle disappeared off of everything Star Wars is because she got exiled by the Jedi because they're supposed to be.
So if that's true,
Celibate.
that would actually be kind of a big deal.
Interesting.
Right. But I had an idea that I wanted to run past you. Again,
Okay.
I don't know anything about this crap.
Yeah,
So.
let's
So
just
what
make
if-
up whatever we want at this
This
point.
would explain the significant amount of firepower protecting said
Yeah,
Right.
child.
Because
absolutely.
if it's set up
So-
right. So what if every
And the high
time
price
That means
being
Yaddle
paid.
could show up in an episode.
Yeah,
be
well, and
bonkers.
Right.
if this metal is so expensive, and they're telling we got crates of this stuff for you, you know, this sounds like a pretty hefty.
I don't know.
So, what if every
This is
time
getting
a
nuts.
large manifestation of the Force appears, good or bad, the Force in of itself generates the opposite to offset it? So, what if Yoda is the Force manifesting ultimate good versus something that manifested? I'm only saying that because if it happens right after the Return of the Jedi, right after Vader dies.
Yeah.
What if that's the ultimate at the time manifestation? Because they're saying the baby Yoda is 50 years old.
Right.
So if it takes place 50 years after the Return of the Jedi,
Right.
is the baby Yoda the manifestation of ultimate good because a new ultimate bad
It's
has,
getting ready to rear its head.
and the Empire
The
knows
New
it.
Order and all that.
Well, but we also have Kylo Ren. The rise
Getting
of
ready
Kylo
to
Ren.
come up.
But that's way down the line. Well, no, I guess not way down the line. Well,
And I guess
Because where's the movie at?
Han Solo and Leia could have.
Because movie's down.
it's right here, which is
Here.
right before.
Oh, it's before the new ones. Never
So does that
mind.
mean okay, so let's go into how far ahead Disney's playing this. Is Baby Yoda going to be an adult Yoda in the Rise of Skywalker that will be interacting with?
Because connect into the newest movie, because we've not seen anything like this
No,
in the
correct.
last.
And I think, in all honesty, in my mind, the new movies have not done justice to the Star Wars universe. In all
agree.
honesty,
Completely.
and so I feel like if they were to build almost like a universe similar to what I feel like they've done to the MCU, where things were more connected and things were building on one another, I would appreciate it, to be honest, since it is such a cultural thing. You know, for me growing up, being like, oh man, I love Star Wars, it was such a thing, and then the prequels hit and they were like, they were fun, but they weren't really what I was expecting, and then
When does Rise of Skywalker come out?
December, right?
Yeah.
Well, right, but
Christmas.
is it
yeah,
around Christmas?
yep,
So they'll have 5 to 6 episodes they could have posted
on the Mandalorian.
on the Mandalorian to like maybe even hint at something could be.
That
Could
would be cool.
Maybe they drop one last trailer like like 2 weeks before the movie drops, and then incorporate it with something that's been hinted at in the Mandalorian.
Maybe we see a major movie character in the show.
That's possible.
That'd be pretty cool.
Show adorable Yoda in a
Who?
preview.
Who?
I'd be like, well, I wasn't gonna see it, but now adorable Yoda.
Can we all take a moment to be grateful that the fellas that wrote Game of Thrones are no longer part of writing Star
Yes.
Wars?
Holy crap!
Speaking about, the story not being as
Yeah.
fluent as it could be.
Well, and it's just bounced around, and I'm sure they had a good theme and good idea initially, like why they were doing what they were doing, but it fell off for me like very quickly. Yeah.
I got bored.
So I missed they have this Age of Republic for the first 3, Age of Rebellion for the
gotcha.
original 3, and the new 3 says Age of Resistance. This the chart I'm looking at is what they released at D23
Yeah.
for the official timeline.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it all. But it's been really good so far.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next episode. See what happens with Baby Yoda.
Baby is 50 years old and is still a baby.
Yeah.
He can't do anything in the the episodes 4, 5, and 6. I would imagine we're still a baby / maybe adolescent.
I don't know.
So he would be older, which would be correct in the time frame for the newer movies.
Yeah, he'd be a little punk ass teenager by then. He'd be like, whatever, I'm playing video games and smoking pot.
So were you guys? Were you guys aware of Baby Yoda's existence before Mandalorian?
No.
So I know people who like, I knew they were doing it, and I'm like, I never even heard any of this. I watched one trailer for Mandalorian, and that was it. So, like, when they got to the whole point, like, first of all, again, spoilers for the first episode, not my problem. If you get, so he's like, all we can tell you is he's 50 years old. He lands, and there's the old guy that Nick Nolte's character is played by. Yeah. And my brain was like, he looks like he's 50 years old. Is this the guy? That was quick, Yeah. And then I'm like, no. And I'm like, okay, so who is he going after? And like, the second they walk in, and I saw that it was freaking a Baby Yoda, I was like, what is that? Yeah. And even my wife was like she just like her hands went up. She goes,
I need to hold you.
Like,
I'd be curious to know what happened in the TV series. I've not watched whatever the first TV series was.
Rebels or something.
The Rebels or something. I'd be curious to know what happened in that, if there's any clues there. Because if he's 50 years old, that's too old for the original trip for the episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Right, exactly.
He would have been born, or she, prior to those.
Somewhere like between Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, maybe. Mm-hmm. Born there, I don't know, or created there. Yeah. All we can do is watch and wait at this point.
See what happens. I will say I haven't been this interested in anything Star Wars in a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it really at all for me personally.
Yeah, none of the movies have really sparked.
Not for me.
And by far better than any of the most recent movies.
Yeah. I think just make this a Star Wars episode.
Yeah.
Good with that?
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, here's an ultimate question for you for The Mandalorian. If they find a way to maintain what they're doing and drop some kind of hint that there'll be something in reference to The Mandalorian in Rise of Skywalker, would that be enough to make you go see Rise of Skywalker?
It'd have to be pretty significant for me at this point. I am feel dead inside with the new with the new movies.
And that's not just like normal. That's
not
extra.
Normal. This is like extra dead inside. So it's like I have no care. Like
What's deader than dead?
You could literally this next movie. I mean, you could chop all their heads off, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, none of them really did anything, so whatever.
I'm gonna keep teasing Rey is gonna go to the dark side, but
I think that's just a red herring.
I think it's just for ticket sales.
I completely agree. I think they're trying to build this big.
You ever have words and phrases that automatically make you think of something?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Anytime I ever hear red herring, I think of the movie Clue.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time I hear that phrase, I just envision Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, that makes sense.
Yep.
Since it has 3 fake endings.
Right.
So.
And there's that one scene where they're explaining, and several times he goes, "But that was just a red herring," and it was it's been pounded into my head where I'm like,
"Oh yeah."
Somebody say red herring? What? I didn't watch Clue. I haven't watched Clue in a while.
Yeah, and spoilers for Clue, but if you've not seen Clue at this point,
yeah.
I mean, you've had 20 years,
right? So. I don't care.
I think that's. Yeah.
That's what I need to put on a shirt
on
for the show. I need to put that on a shirt for the show. Spoilers? I don't care.
Spoilers.
Well, guys, Zach, it was nice meeting you in person. We've played Rainbow Six together. Mm-hmm. Should probably maybe try playing some Modern Warfare or something.
It's a blast.
I've been trying to tell Brent to do it too.
Yeah.
So what do you think of gunfight mode? Not gunfight. Yeah, that's what it's called?
Where it's 2v2?
2v2.
Only fun with friends.
Right.
Only fun with friends.
During the beta, I tried playing it over and over again, and I'm like, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. Dave finally got on the beta and was like, hey, you want to play gunfight? And I'm like, sure. I then proceeded to play gunfight for 2.5 hours. okay, this is better when you're talking to somebody, and it's like, so that's why I would try to get Brent to play 2v2. I'm like, hey man, I want to play some gunfight.
Call out strategy. It's
hilarity.
It's so much fun. You don't care as much. You're just hanging out with your bud.
Right. Did you see the video I posted of the team that told the other team, hey, GG guys, we're gonna wipe your ass with this, like we're gonna kick your ass this round. And the guys were like, I'm sorry, what? Like, yeah, good game. And they're like, do you want me to give you a round? We'll give you a round. And then they just 6-0, and it was like, good game, guys. And they were like, yeah, whatever, F off. Like, just like.
I will say that I always anticipate Call of Duty to be extremely toxic.
Right. Wait, what?
This has, man, like, I grew up with like the old, Modern Warfare 4 Xbox lobbies, where, your mom was originated, like popularized everybody, everything. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same, and I'm so glad for crossplay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, no offense, I know you guys are console players. Console players tend to be a lot more toxic.
Yeah.
I've missed that in my PC lobbies.
There's a reason I mostly play with just friends.
Right, and party like I create just chat parties on PS4 or I play Modern Warfare on the Xbox, but like any game like multiplayer game, I'll just create a chat party and just sit in it by myself because it's just
you miss out on the trash talk though.
I don't.
You really do, especially end of game.
You're a pretty good trash talker. I am not a good trash talker, but playing Rainbow Six with you sometimes, I can only imagine the things that comes out of your mouth.
There was, I did enjoy one
especially
game.
since you're very good, and it's like, oh, I've just killed 4 people. We're good. We've only got 1 left, and I'm like, Zach, it's been 5 seconds. How did you do that?
It's just like, all map knowledge.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is the map knowledge.
Game is
You'll be like, well, if you have this little spot open here, and then you aim here, and they happen to come up, you can just take them all out, and you're like,
all map knowledge.
I just armed my mind. What the? So sad. But it's awesome also.
I have also learned with Modern Warfare, and then I've thought back to the times we've played Rainbow Six. I play better when I'm not talking to people I know. Yes. Because I'm like a guy I work with and Dave will get on and play Modern Warfare a couple times a week. And we're talking and shit to each other and laughing and having fun. They both are like leading everything the whole time, and if I'm lucky, middle of the road. But I'm not really paying attention to the game. We're just chatting. Mm-hmm. Then I'll go a night where I'm just sitting there by myself. I'm going to play some Modern Warfare. And I'm not talking to anybody. I have everybody muted. And I'm the one freaking leading the everything. And I'm like, you guys are bad for me. And they were like, what? I'm like, I told them, I was like, the next day at work, I said, you both are like a bad habit for me when I'm playing video games. So like, what are you talking about? Well, and I showed him because I kept a couple of the screenshots, and I'm like, this without you. I'm pretty sure every game I've played with you guys, I'm lucky to scrape by like 7 kills. I don't know what the problem is, but you were horrible for me.
It's hard to focus, and it's hard to hear, and a lot of these games are very heavy on
footsteps.
Yes, which got nerfed last patch.
Did it?
Yes,
I haven't.
Did.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
They were so loud.
I've heard. I have not played.
Haven't heard.
I've heard there's a battle royale coming for.
Yes, Brent sent me that.
Huge map.
100,
enormous,
100
and some really cool ideas in it.
Yeah,
I was reading the thing about like you can revive somebody, but then you end on like a 1-on-1, and then whoever survives the 1-on-1 actually gets out and gets revived. Or sometimes there's a prison break, and then all the people that have been revived come back. I'm like,
that's cool.
I was like,
that does sound cool.
This kind of sounds like a really
fun.
Good idea for something just new in a battle royale type game.
Yeah. Well, see, and I played. Did you play the last Black Ops?
Black Ops 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like Blackout?
No.
Really?
I hated it.
I kind of enjoyed it.
I couldn't stand it. Like I played a lot of.
Were you a PUBG guy at all?
Played a lot of PUBG.
Okay. Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Because you were also once again the guy that would be like get started, and you'd be like, I have level 3 everything and 2,000 ammo, and you'd be like, Zach, how do you have?
I just hoard ammo.
Everything. and level 3 everything. It was always fun.
To be fair, I think part of it was
Saw.
the matchmaking when I first started.
Yeah.
Coming from PC, knowing where all the stuff was.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, when you came and played with us on Xbox, you were like a god. And we were just like the peons that wouldn't
played
came
a lot
along
of
with you.
PUBG.
And you'd be like, oh, I see 5 guys. Oh, they're all dead now.
I
We'd be like,
typically play one game.
I just picked up a pistol, Zach. That's all I have. You'd be like, oh, here, I'll drop everything for you. I'll go find more. And I'm like, oh
That's
my
how
gosh.
that's how Dave is with Apex.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he gets
That's
on
how my little
Apex
brother
and
is,
just
too.
like I'm like, how do you?
Yeah.
Some people just, they play that. That's their game.
Yeah.
I told him there's KC Game On local thing here in Kansas City that does competitions. I told him, I said, dude, I'm gonna take you to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've talked to those guys before. I know who they are. Like I'll get you enrolled in one of the Apex tournaments just because I want to see what he does.
That's awesome.
And he is one of the biggest damn trash talkers in the world. I regularly, most time, the most things I say to him is after the kids go to bed and I'm upstairs and he's down here and I'm either yelling at him or texting him, volume, shut your damn mouth. Because, and he's dropping, he's 19 and he drops every insult you can think of.
Yep.
His big thing he loves, and it cracks me up, is he goes, why am I even here? I'm like, what? He's like, why am I even here? These fools are not at my level. And I'm like, what's really bad is when we're playing Rainbow Six and he's sitting there and he watches me go on a little run. Yeah. He'll just stand up. He won't get loud, but we'll be up there and he'll go, and like Austin's always like, and I'm like,
calm it down. Settle.
Simmer down.
Settle.
I have a personal understanding of this. My little brother's living with me, and
how old?
He's 18.
Okay, so
Just
he's
turned
19.
18. Yeah, similar age, similar story. We have him literally on the complete other side of the house. Complete other side of the house. His door is closed. Our bedroom door is closed. You can still hear him yelling at his TV.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're upstairs in our bedroom at night, and he stays up late on Friday night, Saturday night, and plays with his brother. His brother is stationed in Korea. Gotcha. So, like, they're already at off hours. Mm-hmm. So when he should be going to bed, his brother's wide awake, so it's really good for them. They'll just stay up late and play, like, Call of Duty or Apex or something. And I'm like, my children are sleeping. Stop. And it's like... But, I mean... It's not like it's bad. It's just
he's having fun.
Yeah, I'd rather
There's
he
worse
be doing
things
that.
he could be doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. All right, gentlemen.
Should we wrap this
up? Yes, Sam. You probably need to get home and go to sleep.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Have you back over again sometime, Zach?
Heck yeah.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week. We'll try and do the Blade review. Well, we'll do a Blade review at some point.
A++, 100%.
Still will be number 2 on my list.
That's incorrect.
Because we'll only review 2 movies, and it'll be number 2 on my list.
It's wrong, but it's all right. You can be wrong.
It's not as good as Joker. I'm sorry, Sam. Which one of them made $1 billion?
Blade.
What did all 3 Blades make together?
3 billion.
3 billion?
From Sam alone.
All right. On that note, goodbye, everybody. Peace out.